Hello, today we are going to talk about what it means to assemble something. Now, when we assemble something, that means we're going to put things together, like two pieces of plastic cubes where one goes in the other, and it's as easy as that. So, when we assemble something, that means anytime that we put two things together. When we use the engineering design process, we use the process of creating, or the step of creating, to assemble pieces together so we can test out what our ideas are. So, when we are assembling things, we do have to think about the properties of those materials that we chose. So, if you look at these plastic cubes that we talked about at the beginning of the week, these plastic cubes are smooth, but they assemble very easily because they have holes and the pieces that fit in the holes on each part of it. So it's very easy to connect each one together. But it may not be appropriate for every design. So let's talk about some problems and how assembling different pieces can help us. We've talked about bridges before in our class. Now, talking about bridges means that we usually have something going over those bridges. Something has to get from one place to the next. So, let's use those couple pieces we saw in the last clip, which are the plastic building blocks and popsicle sticks. So, the plastic building blocks are good for stacking up. Popsicle sticks can also be used for stacking, but in a different way. If we put two popsicle sticks together like this, they can stack, but if we try to put them together like this, they fall. So if we're going to be building a bridge, this might help us with some of the supports. So I'm going to lower our screen a little bit so you can see. All right, so here's one leg of our bridge, and we have 4 pieces that make that top part, and then a little piece on the bottom, like a little leg, that helps keep it steady on the base. So I'm going to add another piece here on that one. Now together, that doesn't make a super good bridge, but it does maybe help the bridge stay out of water. These kind of look like legs that walk around, and our legs help us stay upright. So this could be good for the legs of the bridge. So then if we use the piece of the popsicle stick on top, we can see that it can travel across the top, and that can be very helpful. I love learning about the ocean. And so, one of the things I always see at the ocean are shells. And I always want to make sure that I have something to remember sometimes the places that I visit, but also make sure it's an okay thing that I can take. I don't always take plants or animals or shells from where I go because I want to make sure it's responsible and not going to hurt the environment or the animals around it. So, I did find a shell that I got approved from a park ranger near the ocean one time, and this shell is very valuable to me. So I want to make sure that it doesn't break because it is fragile, which means it could break easily. Now, if you look, I'm in a gym over at Churchill, and in a gym, there's usually like a ball flying around or something. So something I could do is engineer a way to protect it. And I might have to assemble some pieces to make a new invention that could protect it. So I use my plastic cubes to create, and I've already estimated how many I should use, a little structure that my shell fits inside of and that I can put on top. So now, when one of those big balls comes by and tries to hit it, it will bounce off of the object that I made. Now, a lot of people have tables in their homes, and so when you have a table, you know that there's some things that are important. It has to be strong so people can put like heavy food down on top of it or plates or anything like that. Or you might even be working at a table while you're at home. So I kind of put some pieces together, the same type of pieces we've been using for all of our other problems, and that is to make a table. Now, I see 4 legs to a table, just like the tables you might have seen. Oop. And see, you can see I might need to use some different pieces. But for this table, there is a problem. There's a hole in the top. And that's because most tables are made of different pieces to put it together. So I think that using those plastic blocks made a good frame for my table, but it's not a full set of what I need to actually make the entire table. So if I keep using those popsicle sticks, I can use them to fill in the gaps. And I'm going to trust what I make so much that I'm going to test it with something that I find valuable. In the last video, you saw that I find a shell that I have and got from the ocean one time from a park ranger. And I want to make sure that this can hold my shell, because if that shell breaks, it would make me a little sad. So I'm going to fix the top of the table. I am going to reassemble my leg that fell off the table so it's still strong. And I'm going to practice putting my shell on top. Now, if you look, there's still some holes in my table, but it's a much stronger design because now it's not going to fall straight through the hole. So if I put my shell on top, it worked. Now, these might not be the perfect materials that I have, but they worked. It's holding something valuable to me. So I think it was strong. And the fact that the popsicle sticks were long made it helpful, and they were flat made it helpful. So lots of important properties about these different materials we're using to put things together. It's your turn. Please, at home, go ahead and find some different materials that you can put together to make anything. It could be books, it could be blocks like these, or like Legos, or your math cubes. You can use anything you want to try and make something new. One of your ideas could be to make a fort at home, which you could make for over the weekend too. And you could play with a brother, a sister, a friend, and use that fort. Now you could use blankets and pillows, or you can use books to make like a little house for a toy. Anything. Find different materials. Think, what properties of those materials are good for putting those pieces together or assembling those pieces? Good luck.